the center of our love I stand, and from that center I the soul will outward move. From that center I the one who serves will work. May the love of the divine self be shed abroad in my heart, through my group and throughout the world. May the love of the divine self be shed abroad in my heart, through my group and throughout the world. At the I stand.
Okay. Hi, everybody, and we welcome you to our continuation of the vigil on behalf of the post-election period in the United States. That's one thing, but it really is a global issue. And so as we fight together internally for democracy, we are affecting the entirety of the human race, just a little bit, but we work esoterically in the hope that it really can make a difference. Today we will, Tuya will explain more as we go, but we will have some readings from Master DK, and the readings will concern how it is we are to function within. When he says, see that you battle, what does he mean by that? And when he says, well, he says, we take sides, but on the basis of principle, but not on the basis of being against any human being per se. I mean, we have to be cautious about how we operate internally. So I'll be around here and I'll give it to Tuya, and we can work together. We'll have a small meditation at the end of our process. Okay, dear.
Yeah, hello to everybody and good evening from Finland. Lovely to see you again. And actually, we would like to, you have your, if you so will, your videos now on, because we are lovely that at least I see one person. There you are
Okay.
coming. Wonderful. Great. Because first we were thinking to have a discussion together about these spiritual principles, and I think it is for all of us. Every now and then we think about these, that how these things actually are, and then when we start to our research, we see so many different aspects that it might be confusing. But and because it is the time for all of us trying to become better and better in our work and to understand about it more and more. So we have been collecting some quotations. Let us read together. We actually have so many of them that we will not read them all tonight. We will continue tomorrow. But just we go along and we look how it goes. The most important is for all of you to share your ideas and how do you see these different aspects in your own understanding, and let us then create more group understanding about all these important and very interesting subjects. Do you want to say anything more, Michael, about that, or shall we just go
No,
into?
that's okay. We'll just get into it.
Yeah, and today we are again having more about the protection work in our meditation. We will develop our methods along, and then when we are on January, maybe we then have been completing our ways of then working. Today we will add also violet color into our work. So, by the way, we were thinking if there would be always someone who would like to then read one slide, that we would not be tired of our voices. You hear enough of us, so would be lovely that if you could then participate. But let us look these 4 categories of recognition, what TK is talking. It is coming from education of the New Age. That there are hierarchy, responsibility, group interplay, and this is actually forgiveness. Sorry, I correct this. Forgiveness or sacrifice. These are the 4 categories of recognition which will enable each person to do his part and take his share in bringing between person and person, between group, and between nation and nation. Thus establishing that new world of recognized corporate relationships, which will eventually produce the civilization of light and love, which will be characteristic of the Aquarian age. So we have these 4 things: hierarchy, that we recognize our relationship with hierarchy, our responsibility, our dharma, group interplay, that is something what is good to be contemplated, and then forgiveness, which is translated by DK as sacrifice. So we will contemplate these things also in our meditation today. But then we can go further. We have been collecting some interesting things, some characteristics about the new group of observers. So Michael, if you read first, and then we try to look who would raise their hands, and then we will let you. Okay, good. Just can you do this raising your hand in the chat box, or participants, or how that is working? Okay, Yvonne is there.
Yeah, I think it happens in the participants.
Yeah,
and usually we have Michael, Stacy or Michael Crow with us, so I hope I get this right. We'll see whether I can
at least. Okay,
do it
good.
correctly.
There is
I hope
coming
so.
more hands. Great. just be brave. We have many slides here. So
Okay,
Michael, shall
I
we
see how
start?
that works. Okay. Okay, do you want me to read this? Is that it to you?
Yeah.
Did you say? Okay.
Yes.
So they, the new group of world servers, are being gathered out of every nation, but are gathered and chosen not by the watching hierarchy or by any master, but by the power of their response to the spiritual opportunity, tide, and note. They are emerging out of every group and church and party and will therefore be truly representative. This they do not from the pull of their own ambition and prideful schemes, but through the very selflessness of their service. And does the next section go along with this, or is this
Yes,
is a
it just
complete one?
continues. Several slides now. So
Okay.
shall we comment here?
Maybe go ahead a little bit, then come back. Is that possible? You know, just to
Yes. So if
keep a little more. Yeah.
Yvonne would now, we have
Okay.
unmuted
So
you.
we have a number of people that are ready to speak, but let's go on and read a little more, then we'll go back.
No, yes, there is Yvonne who is ready to read.
Yeah, like I say, there are 4 or 5 that are ready to read. So
Go ahead, Yvonne. Thank you.
All right. They are finding their way to the top in every department of human knowledge, not because of the clamor they make about their own ideas, discoveries, and theories, because they are so inclusive in their outlook and so wide in their interpretation of truth that they see the hand of God in all happenings, his imprint upon all forms, and his notes sounding forth through every channel of communication between the subjective reality and the objective outer form. They are of all races. They speak all languages. They embrace all religions, all sciences, and all philosophies.
Thank you. And if now, Ginny, would you be ready? And if you unmute yourself. And
a new slide,
right.
new group of world servers, characteristics 3. Their characteristics are synthesis, inclusiveness, intellectuality, and fine mental development. They own to no creed, save the creed of brotherhood, based on the one life. They recognize no authority save that of their own souls, and no master save the group they seek to serve, and humanity whom they deeply love. They have no barriers set up around themselves, but are governed by a wide tolerance and a sane mentality and sense of proportion. They look with open eyes upon the world of men and recognize those whom they can lift and to whom they can stand as the great ones stand, lifting, teaching, helping.
Thank you. And then we still have from this number 4. And Daniela, if you would be kind to read now, and you can unmute yourself.
They recognize their peers and equals and know each other when they meet and stand shoulder to shoulder with their fellow workers in the work of salvaging humanity. It does not matter if their terminologies differ, their interpretations of symbols and scriptures vary, or their words are few or many. They see their group members in all fields, political, scientific, religious, and economic, and give to them the sign of recognition and the hand of a brother. They recognize likewise those who have passed ahead of them upon the ladder of evolution and hail them teacher and seek to learn from them that which they are so eager to impart.
Thank you. So that was only one paragraph, and Tige has been writing so much about the new group of world servers, and they are really fantastic. All of this will.
Yeah.
Yes,
Maybe,
Michael.
maybe we go back now and see if anybody wants to make comment on
Right.
the 4 sections we've had. And then if so, they will, and if not, we'll go on to the next. So, is this the very first slide?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Is there anybody who would like to comment something? Ginny, you have your hand up, so did you mean that to say something or? Okay.
I meant to put that down, but I do have a comment. Basically, the new group of world servers, according to this explanation, includes everybody who's trying to do their part, whatever that is. And I get the sense that no one's better than anyone else, that if they're doing everything that they know how to do. That's all.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Right, and what is important again that we are realizing that how they are coming from all kinds of groups, from all directions of human endeavor, from political, religious, scientific, artist, whatever we can name, from every single ray.
I think it's important to notice there's no ambition in it. And people are not seeking recognition out of any kind of pride. It's selflessness is the motive. And it has quite a range of people, all the way from initiates, even of the 4th degree, usually including those who are in the 2nd degree, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, but sometimes he uses the term loosely. And men and women of goodwill who are really committed to service, they are considered to be members of the new group of world servers. Sometimes he gets technical about it, and says, well, let the servers look for those who show the signs of the 1st or 2nd initiation. So he's telling us something about the depth of their service compared to the average man or woman of goodwill. So they are confirmed servers. Yeah.
Right, and that what is interesting, what he says that this group is the Ashna center of the Sanat Kumara. And when we think about what is Ashna center, so it is the directive force within oneself. And so this group is going in front of the humanity. And one of the very important thing is to envision the new future. Tige says that, how it went, Michael, that without vision, people
the people perish. Where there
perish.
is no vision, the people perish. And the servers really do, as a big part of their function, provide vision for members of humanity who maybe don't see as much. It's such an important function. Yeah.
And because we all are connected, so the in inner planes we are affecting then the average humanity or if we call that those who are in the darkness, we all are in the darkness in different vibrational levels. But this on the verge of moving out from the earthly carrier, moving out from the reincarnational cycles, in that frame and in that borderland, it is so important that these visions of hope and for future are constantly put forward. It is something which is related also to the sixth ray. In one sense, when we think about, even though sixth ray is causing so much harm on this planet and so much chaos, but it is also something which is so deeply human that, and without that, we are also perishing. We do not have strength to go further because it is so difficult, that part, when we are really making changes to the planes.
You know,
So that's,
yeah, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Just to briefly say, you know, when you deal with the laws of the soul, the law of service is ruled by the sixth ray. So, you know, there is a very high form of sixth ray, and we're in kind of a 21,000 year period remaining on the sixth ray. So it will be, you know, in a larger cycle. And we just really have to learn how to use that ray. But when it's going out of its racial cycle, as it is now, then you get some of the negative aspects as it's about to leave. But in general, it's a very, very important ray to last, you know, thousands of years more.
Right. So Francis is writing, emerging out of every party, should we be looking for them in the other political parties, not just the one who won the presidential election?
Yeah. What do you think? I think so.
Yes, we
everywhere,
have to,
yeah.
you know, I have been thinking a lot about that, how we are dealing with in politics, and also thinking about that good habits of debate, that it should be taken back. There are some countries that there are these educations of debate, and it should be taken that we would be learning how to debate with the different points of views. It's just good that we have different points of views, because we are all walking on the different side of the mountain, and we are looking and seeing from that side an angle a little bit differently. And it is so important that we share and everybody has a voice, and ability and right to say. The freedom of speech, it should be everywhere. But the freedom of speech has been very much challenged during the past years in the West. And that kind of developments we have to look and try to do our best on the inner planes, that we are protecting those freedoms, because everyone is a spirit, and that's why everyone has right to be here. If anyone is here, there is some purpose behind everyone.
Right. So maybe we move on to the next slide. Is that possible?
Okay. Yes. 1 second. So we were here. And so there is a Tia, and I saw Asha earlier. So Tia, would you be kind and read and ask, unmute yourself?
The reading we've done, right? Oh, wait a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You went ahead to the.
Sorry. We are here.
Yeah, number 2, right?
Oh, 2.
Yep.
Did we be only at number 1? Okay.
Yeah, that's how fast it goes. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Anybody have anything we want to say? Then Tia will catch you when we start reading from the next section. I mean, the selflessness, the inclusivity, the universality. Remember, it's Aquarius. It's the age of universal love that we're going into. And the servers are the great organ of the Christ, the organ of the hierarchy right here and now in the worlds of the personality. So they will be even much more than they are right now. And these are qualifications which I think are very, very important. They're just not egotistical. This is one of the really important factors here. They don't say my idea, my vision, my, all of that. No, it's a much broader type of inclusive approach for the welfare of many.
So what is interesting, that Tibetan is telling that already 1400s, this group was starting to be performed. So it has been many hundreds of years development. But now on humanity, this group is...
But what do you think? Keep
That
yourself
was Finnish.
muted if you can. We can see your picture, and then when it's time to talk, if you want to talk, we'll
Yeah.
unmute you. Yeah. Make
So
sure
anyway,
you're
that this group is coming all the time more and more powerful, and we can think about these new children who are born, we see that they are like from the other planet altogether. So, and when thinking about that, we can just imagine that how wonderful the future could be, that we really have opportunity on our planet at the moment.
So many advanced souls are waiting for the proper circumstances in which to incarnate. We've provided some of those circumstances, but by no means all. By no means. So this is all about brotherhood and authority and barriers or non-barriers and recognition. Anybody have anything you want to add in general about the servers or in relation to this paragraph, this section? Look at the need for mental polarization. Now that's really a key thing.
CEOs in the country.
Let's see. We have who? Yeah, go ahead, Francis.
Parents, educators.
In our meditations, I've been trying to notice members of the party that did not elect the president-elect, but who are standing up for the principles of democracy, and including them, hoping that our collective emphasis on them will show them that we recognize them as members, however unconscious, of the new group of world servers, and bless them for their courage. They're the ones that are really standing up for and against this kind of oppression.
Right.
That's not an easy thing, I mean, look what happened to John the Baptist. He was the individual server, and he basically, gave his life to the process. We don't know what it will mean for the group server. Does the law of analogy hold good? But DK has warned us this is when you're working for the Christ, it's risky business, and you are sort of separated out for protection, he says. So, we have to realize what's involved here in terms of the militant attacks that occur from the inner side. Yeah. I think everyone has the possibility of making sure that your microphone is muted unless you are going to speak. So make sure of that if you can do that. That will help. Then we won't get background, other stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it really sounds like an open person, doesn't it? It sounds like an open group. It sounds very tolerant, doesn't it? And, there's a place, isn't there, in the, is it Discipleship in the New Age? Is it volume 2? I think it's volume 2. If it's not, it's volume 1. It's page 660, and it gives you the 11 qualities of the heart. And tolerance is one of those major qualities of the heart center, the open heart center. And when do you think the kind of mentality that is needed here comes in? There's a difference between mental focus and mental polarization. Does anybody know what that difference is?
No.
Though there's a straight comment. All righty. Well, a mental focus is something that we progressively develop through the stage of intelligent human being, first initiation, second initiation. Mental polarization does not occur until the midway point between the second and third initiation, true mental polarization. So, this is a high group, and we aspire to know that we truly are members of this group, lifting, teaching, helping. And I'm sure so many here are doing exactly that. Anything here that you would like to remark
Well,
upon?
I was just thinking about this. They recognize no authority save that of their own souls, and no master save the group they seek to serve, and humanity whom they deeply love. So that it is not that kind of, if we think about this characteristic, it is more like down your feet and hands in the work. So that there is not this kind of clamorous relationship with the higher ones and the great ones, but very, very on the level of just taking the work.
Yeah, yeah. And frankly, it's at a stage when the solar plexus center is being raised to the heart. And Alice Bailey herself was involved in that process. From the first initiation, it's basically sacral to throat, and you retain those abilities. But when we're dealing with this kind of level, and the whole idea of the deep love of humanity, anyway, that is the solar plexus to the heart. That seems to be a real requirement. It's very Venusian, it's very Libran. It has a lot to do with brotherhood, brotherhood, sisterhood, the kind of thing that will develop at the end of the Aquarian age.
Right. So now the last one of these.
Well, that you quoted that to you, and I think it's so important. He tells us that one of the victories of the Lodge of Materialism is that they've managed to define spirituality as belonging only to the religious field. That is a victory on their part, and it's really incorrect.
Exactly. So do we see anyone's hands who wants to comment? Maybe this is,
Jesse has
we
something.
got something. Do you read that, Michael?
All need adequate, good and safe food and water. Let me go here to where Jesse has that chat. Let's see. Oh, goodness, there's quite a bit. Yeah. Good food, excuse me, safe food and water, all need adequate, good and safe housing. All need a way to express their creativity and skills. All need right education and the ability to think for oneself. All need love and companionship. There is not one of us who does not need the support and love of our brothers and sisters. And there is nothing of importance in life that is not needed by all. So there's a note of universality here and meeting universal need. And well, you know, we live in a humanity now where these fundamental needs are not met. Yeah. The four freedoms, exactly. The needs are, the privation stalks the earth, and it is said, but it's not a glib, fanciful idea that the super rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. This huge divide, which must be overcome through the heart, because the heart will not allow that kind of polarity between in the meeting of fundamental human needs, and even the needs that will give expression to the soul. He says when the fifth ray comes in, it will create so much time through its labor-saving devices that everyone will be able to cultivate themselves spiritually in terms of their expression. But it will be fought against, you know, for the principle of egotism, basically.
So then Marianne also added the different parties have to cooperate for the whole. And that is really the thing to be done in whatever groups we are, not in only politics, but wherever we need to cooperate with the whole.
Yeah, and have that vision leading to revelation. Now, you know, one of our big jobs as members of the servers, aspiring to be members, whatever, is education. The great second ray ashram is really powerfully coming forward in different ways, and the whole reappearance of the Christ is guaranteeing the very strong presence of the second ray with its educative potentials. Now, we have to be educated into right human relations, and so many people are still at the egotistical, competitive stage. We have to help rid the human psyche of that kind of competition.
So I think, Michael, we should go forward. It's already 22.
I'm telling you, it's about 5-6 programs worth.
So this has 2 parts in it. And if Tia, you would be kind to read this.
Okay, Tia is somewhere here. Let's make
Yeah,
sure.
Tia.
Oh, wait a second. Let's get Tia. I'm just trying to figure out.
Yes, Tia has to unmute herself.
She unmutes herself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'll just say ask to unmute, because I can't do it from here. I don't know why. I should be able to, but
because her mic is muted from her side.
Okay, let me just check something here. Participants, and Michael Stacy showed me something, and but unfortunately.
Okay, if Tia, you are studying your computer, Asha, you were just for a while having your hand up. So can you, Asha, read this and also unmute yourself?
Yes, okay. I had just a quick question. It was very interesting. You answered most of my questions, but just the new group of world servers don't necessarily have to be esotericists. They're just people who meet those qualities and can be, you know, right action, right thought, you know, and they don't have to be necessarily esotericists.
No.
They may not.
Matter of
Right.
fact, the majority are not. The majority,
Majority. Okay.
those who are maybe some of the higher members of the group and who actually know the occult underpinnings of it all, they will be esotericists. But it's almost as if the people who are not the esotericists get the most work done. So
Right.
you have to be very tolerant, accepting.
This big coloring characteristics is about this love to humanity, and we see many that kind of real lovers of humanity who are sacrificing themselves, and they are there in the field helping their brothers and sisters.
I was so moved by that video with the Georgia. I don't know the election person. I don't know who was the governor when he did the Georgia meditation the other day. That video that was out on CNN was, you know, he was clearly a new group of person when he was calling out.
There was something on the line. I couldn't. Did you recognize what Asha was saying in the end?
I was saying.
Yeah, go ahead,
Sorry.
Asha. Go ahead.
I was just saying that some of the people that are coming out, you can really feel that they are soul oriented. And I was very moved by the speech on CNN by that governor the very same day that Tuya did the meditation for Georgia.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You want me to read this next page then?
Yes, please.
Okay. The point to be emphasized is that these have all been motivated from the inner subjective side of life. They have come forth under a divine urge and with a specific work to accomplish. They have all been composed in the primary stage of disciples and initiates of the lesser degrees. They have all been subjectively guided step by step by their own souls, which have in their turn been cooperating consciously with the hierarchy of knowledge.
Thank you. And
maybe we could, anything
do you want to comment right here? Or shall we read the next one?
I just want to say this, that you can be a disciple or initiate of lesser degree, first or second degree, and even more, and know nothing about standard esotericism. That's really something to think about. As a matter of fact, some of those who had a very definite connection with hierarchy earlier and knew what they were doing esoterically have relinquished that information because they found that they could work more effectively in service if they were not encumbered by that particular information. So I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Right, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like this Swedish Greta, what is her last name? Greta.
The young woman who.
The young, wonderful, yes, who is fiercely fighting for the climate for the future.
Thunberg.
And I was just, right.
Greta Thunberg.
Right, thank you. So, so I think that in that group, the people do not have to be all the time polite and quiet, even though that is one of their signs, but still in some aspect of the work, depending where they are, what is their dharma, it is also that they furiously state the truth. But when we think about this climate change and these problems which is going to be bringing to the whole planet, to the animal kingdom included, vegetable kingdom, us. So someone has to put that in so strong words that it is realized. So, and certainly Greta is one of those who is from this group. And I'm sure that she is not thinking being or how do I know? I don't know. But I just guess that she is not thinking that I'm esotericist. But how one is acting is telling about that she is in that group.
And talk about the first ray, you know, there's plenty of it in her demonstration.
Mm.
And, you know, in the overcoming of this, what is the condition that she has? Autism, something of that nature. Obviously an old soul, old soul.
Right.
With a mission, you know. So,
Yeah.
and more of these young people are going to be coming in, you know, people who are initiates of the first, second, and third degree. They'll be coming in, and they need to come in. And even some of the figures from earlier times, we're told that Confucius is on his way into China as a member of the hierarchy and will cause a disturbance. The word disturbance is a peculiar word because he says, from the point of view of hierarchy, it's just a disturbance, temporary. From the point of view of humanity, it can look appalling. So let's see what develops in China. That's all part of the plan there as well. All right, why don't we go on to the... Now, let's see. I saw Tia there. She had some issue with the earbuds, and I thought maybe I read incorrectly. But let's see, Tia, are you there? Gosh, I see a lot of people here.
I don't see Tia's
and when I see a red microphone with a line through it, I guess that means you have to unmute yourself.
That's right.
I guess so.
So Tia, can you write us a message? So meanwhile, could those people who were already reading, what about Francis, would you be willing to read the next one?
Methods 1 or 2, okay. From Treatise on White Magic, page 413, is that correct? Right. It is first of all an attempt at an externalization of the hierarchy upon the physical plane, or a small working replica of this essentially subjective body. Its members are all in physical bodies, but must work entirely subjectively, thus utilizing the inner subjective apparatus and the intuition. It is to be composed of men and women of all nations and ages, but each one must be spiritually oriented. All must be conscious servers. All must be mentally polarized and alert, and all must be inclusive.
Quite a wish list, isn't it, that we have to fulfill there. And by the way, when he uses the word mentally polarized here, it's being used in a general sense, okay? But the technicality of it is, it means the second degree has been passed. The emotions are under control. Glamour is pretty well banished, and illusion is the issue. So that's what it usually means anyway.
Right. So, and we see...
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Yep. And we see that in this group, we have a lot of ranges, so that of this group, there is a peak of this group as well, those who are really advanced and they are on the verge of leaving their earthly incarnations behind. And then on the tail of this group, we have those who are just merging into their discipleship role.
Yeah.
When we think about those demands or requirements, they are very high. And that, I think, is addressed to the esoteric group. So when we think about
a whole range of, I mean, it's such, you know, it's the kind of configuration of something close to universality that we can find among humanity and on our planet. So the whole theme of universality, unity, all of those things really characterize the servers, and note the intuition is involved. It's not just the concrete mind. Now that is already telling something about the building of the Antikarana, even though maybe so many, maybe even 90% of the people involved would not know the technical language. But for the true intuition to be present, the Antikarana has to have been in process. Anybody like to say anything here? Or did you want to go on and
I was just
read
thinking.
the next one?
Thank you.
I have a quick question. The souls that are passing with COVID, have they contracted to kind of help during this time? Are these like brave souls, or is, I mean, what is, I don't understand. What is your, any comments or any knowledge or any information? I mean, there are some souls that just don't seem to.
There are sacrificial souls.
COVID is a reality. Don't do COVID. It's not a reality that impacts them. And there are some that are like so much in fear. And the souls that are actually transitioning, any comments about that sort of thing?
I think it's hard. It's Asha, isn't it? I think it's hard. It's hard to generalize regarding the thousands that have contracted the disease. For some, it is sacrifice. For others, it seems to be accident. For others, still, you know, there is another reason that they have a lesson to learn about carelessness and about attacking, minimizing, being unrealistic. In other words, certain lessons are taught. And when certain of these people contract the disease, if they survive, they have a changed attitude. So I wouldn't want to generalize across the board. I think there are many reasons, even accidentally being in the wrong place at the wrong time. But then, of course, there's the whole question about the soul's will and whether one survives it or not. There are a range of reasons, it seems to me. Okay, and go ahead.
Jesse is writing, all these souls that pass are being called back to source, regardless of reason, which are many. Exactly.
Well, they will see more clearly on the
right,
other,
and there is certainly, when we think about substance-wise, DK talks about this epidemic, that there is the reason in the astral body, which is so full of fear. And we, through and via the death, we are making these vibrational changes of the matter. So there are so many things going on. So there is the initiation, the first initiation things related to humanity, which is about body. And that's why the body has to be transformed and purified. So diseases are always the means to purify and bringing something into the more harmonious states. Then there is death taken into the, like in our meditation or mantra, the great invocation number 2, there is also the death, which is a means.
Yeah.
How the other higher ones are working in humanity. Then there are individual karma, there are group karma, there are also like the aspect of how the society is going to respond in intelligent ways. So there are these baby steps also that society has not been evolved enough. So there are many reasons. And
he
as
talks
Michael
about a
said,
universal epidemic, you know, and even though it's a hard saying, he talks about the elimination of forms which should be eliminated.
Mm.
Now,
So
you know, it's
because
hard. How do you judge that? I mean, you know, obviously
right.
that's judged from the inside. So there are multiple reasons here, but somehow the goal, it seems to me, since all of this could not take place the way it is taking place without the will of Sanat Kumara,
Mm.
the goal is a plutonic cleansing before the first initiation of humanity, and the production of right human relations through let light and love and power and death fulfill the purpose of the coming one. So this is
And
all part of the reappearance of the Christ.
the thing when we are thinking about the death and karma or those forms that has to die, we don't have to think those people who died, but what actually it means into society. That the thought forms maybe is now dying. Think about how many millions of people are not going to the restaurants or pubs, or this kind of nightlife is stopped. That kind of form is also died
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
while. Or we have to look that there can be so many forms which are now dying, the form how we are dealing in the society as well. So it can be those things, not only that how the people itself died.
Yeah, so
So
multiple uh, reasons, but the final goal seems to be the plutonic creation of a better condition of right human relations before the Christ can reappear. We don't know what the future of this epidemic is, whether it will, like the flu, stay with us in perpetuity, what the vaccines will do or not do, but it is in many ways calling forth sacrifice
yeah,
from some of the people who, well, just think of those medical workers who are
yeah,
basically putting their life on the line every day and in
absolutely,
extreme exhaustion. And
yeah.
then also think of the people who become visible because they just don't care. You
Mm.
know, and as Christ says, I come to bring not peace, but the sword of discrimination. That discrimination is very needed.
So Michael, if
Yeah,
it's
we go
coming
on.
already
I
one
know,
hour.
I know, I
So I
know.
think that we will go through these three next slides, and then we have to
Okay.
go into meditation. So I will read this. So this word spiritual, this group gives to the word spiritual a wide significance. They believe it to mean an inclusive endeavor towards human betterment, uplift and understanding. They give it the connotation of tolerance, international synthetic communion, religious inclusiveness, and all trends of thought which concern the esoteric development of the human being. So here is for us some kind of definition for the word spiritual. Is there anything that anybody wants to say, or shall we just go to the
Maybe we go through these, you know, and then we'll,
next slide? Yeah.
yeah.
So we'll still continue these methods. Michael, if you read this.
Yeah. One of the essential conditions imposed upon the personnel of the group is that they must be willing to work without recognition on the subjective levels. They must work behind the scenes, as do the great ones. You know, it's not an external organization, right? Its members, therefore, must be free from all taint of ambition and from all pride of race and of accomplishment. They must also be sensitively aware of their fellow men and of their thoughts and conditioning environment. Requirements are high. We see that. And sensitivity is a major thing You know, it's a Syrian thing, the brilliant star of sensitivity. They are affected. They are basically becoming initiated, whether they know it or not.
And you
Initiates
know,
of the threshold.
right, and this that they are subjective workers, because that is a comfort also when we are thinking for us, that when we are thinking, what can I do? How should I function at the moment? When we read about these descriptions and some of the demands, and we are getting old and we are not anymore so quick in our feet and legs, and so, but this is something that we have to recognize, that this group is becoming the co-worker for the great ones, to be on this side of the veil, but still the means of working is subjective ways. They must work behind the scenes, as do the great ones. But of course, it has something else, what it means. Let us read that one. Michael, shall you read that one?
It is a group that has no esoteric organization of any kind, no headquarters, no publicity, no group name, except we have something among us, we call them world servers. It is a band of obedient workers and servers of the word, obedient to their own souls and to group need. Remember, obey the inner impulses of the soul, those 4 requirements in a treatise on white magic. All true servers everywhere, therefore, belong to this group, whether their line of service is cultural, political, scientific, religious, philosophical, psychological, or financial. He seems to have listed 7. They constitute part of the inner group of workers for humanity and of the world mystics, whether they know it or not, because they're coming in touch with, the higher points of tension. They don't have to have the terminology. They will thus be recognized by their fellow group members when contacted in the casual ways of world intercourse. So, it takes one to know one, and maybe you have in your life, you've recognized a fellow member of the world servers. There's just a vibration, and you've known what their objective is, even though the method, the terminology, the may be very different from your own, and even the method of working can be different from your own, but you'll all get there. There's a commonality that we recognize. Well, it's a tall order, isn't it? When you really begin to examine the new group of world servers, you begin to realize, well, it's a growing body. I think in a treatise on white magic, when it was written in the 1930s, did he say that there were somehow the number 404 members? Was that it? 4 something? Anyway, there was a small number at that time, and it has grown into the thousands now, probably into the tens of thousands, and initiates of the first degree will be in their millions before long.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been tremendous progress, even though we on the outer plane, we don't see it with the accuracy that hierarchy sees it. Yeah.
But we can see that from that how many nations or countries has been established during this last 100 years. How many people have learned to read, or this transportation of all kinds of goodies, things around the world, communication system, all this, what has happened is telling about that we are conquering this physical plane, and we are learning ways, and our people think about that how average people are living at the moment, that would be like living in those older times, like kings were living that way. And now the average people are living. So there has been a huge, tremendous development in humanity. But Michael, I am now suggesting, and
Yep.
if there is no any other comments, Louis is saying 156 advanced members. Wow.
156, yeah. Okay, that was the number. Yeah, okay.
So that if we would be going now into the meditation, and so this was like background things for us, and then tomorrow we are going, sorry, we didn't go so far today, but tomorrow we are going to read about those, so for us, like contradictory comments and thoughts by DK, and then we think more deeply, what do we think about them?
Yeah. And
Michael, do
Tia
you
has
want
a statement here. It's a beautiful development. She says they do not move into service. They are service itself and cannot do otherwise. Their keynote is selflessness. It's a fundamental point. Yeah. Well, okay. And in these fraught times of tremendous hostile duality, competition, friction, and even, violence, how, we'll get to it, but how do world servers respond to this? This is one of the themes that we want to enter into, because obviously there must be a response. And Master DK has said, and we'll be quoting it, see that you battle, he is saying, to that warring kingdom of humanity, which has to create harmony out of its warring nature. See that you battle, but how? And we'll be discussing that as we
tomorrow?
go along. Yeah.
Sherry is asking, what is that 156 number? Advanced humanity? Where? Yes,
No,
on that time. Yeah.
It's members. It's members of the. I think is it in Treatise on White Magic? Is that where it was? How many? Oh, there's 3 hits here. And oh, wait a second. I see the problem. Can't be externalization. Can't be the great invocation. It has to be. I hope it's white magic. That seems to.
What about if we will study this for tomorrow? Because I'm just worried that we are so much off than normally.
Well, here, but here it is. It's Rule 10 of the. Yeah, and we'll look at it. It's page 418. Some of the 156 who form the present nucleus will be known to you and will work in unison with you, though maybe not in your particular field of action. So, this has to do with early days. Now it's expanded tremendously.
Yeah, we can think about, let us have our homework tomorrow, that what is your thought and sense that how many, because I think it is really many, but anyway, let us think about that. What do we feel and sense about that how much we have these members at the moment on the planet? And what about in your own country? What do you think?
It's an estimate, isn't it? But look, I gave a number 400, didn't I? And then the number 156 was given. Now both numbers are actually here. One by one, here and there, and it just, page 417, they are being gathered out and gathering to them those who are free from the limitations of past political, religious, and cultural theories. They, the members of the one group, are organizing these forward-looking souls into groups which are destined to bring in the new era of peace and goodwill. These latter, who are being influenced by the group members, are as yet only a few thousands among the millions of men, and out of the 400 accepted disciples working in the world at this time, only about 156 are equipped by their thought activity to form part of this slowly forming group. So right there, we have some numbers on page 417 of a treatise on white magic, and we can look at it in terms of how it has grown. All those numbers were relevant at that time, and they've changed. Okay, dear. Go ahead.
Wow. So
400 accepted disciples. That's not a lot, is it? That's not a lot. No. But now it's much more. Okay.
Okay, dear friends, I think that now we will start to go into our meditation. And I will close my video, and maybe we will all close our videos. So let us state our principle that all men, sisters and brothers are one. Michael, if you can read the mantra of unification.
The sons of men are one, and I am one with them. I seek to love, not hate. Let's everybody turn off your audio, mute yourself. Okay, I seek to love, not hate. I seek to serve and not exact due service. I seek to heal, not hurt. And we go on to the next part. Let pain bring due reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form and life and all events, and bring to light the love that underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate and outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all men love.
Let us now recognize our relation with the hierarchy. Our responsibility. Group interplay. Forgiveness or sacrifice. These all enable us to do our part and take our share in bridging between person to person, between group and group, between nation and nation. thus establishing new world of recognized corporate relationships, which will eventually produce the civilization of light and love. We support the civilization of light and love to be born and support this idea. Mr. Biden said, "Our nation is shaped by the constant battle between our better angels and our darkest impulses. It's time for our better angels to prevail." Now consciously, we create the triangle between the soul, mind, and brain, that there is a direct and free inflow from the higher self to the lower. And we align with these better angels. Align with your solar angel. And with the solar angel of the United States. Recognize this vast angelic cooperation. And see how your soul is now linked in the mystery with the Dharma of this great directing entity. Can you recognize why you are linked with that great angel? And we align with the Dharma of the soul of the United States. I light the way. And we recognize the quality of that light. Let us dedicate our work in the name of the Christ. We have gathered in your name, Lord Maitreya, be with us. Welcome His presence. now taking one new aspect into our work, the protective aspect for the group. And we perform the cross of divinity. This is taken from the clamor meditation. We are going to form a cross from our forehead to the heart, from left eye to the right eye. And we touch with our 3 fingers. When we say this mantra together, as a soul, I work in the light. We touch the forehead and then the heart, and darkness cannot touch me. Left eye, I take my stand within the light. Right eye, I work, and from that point I never move. Imagine that you have now this cross of divinity before you and before every single member of the group who is now at present. We hold that as we hold now the mudra or fearlessness, Abhaya mudra, and lifting our right hand forward into blessing position, and the left hand can be the palms up. Or as you see in the image that both hands are the same way. This group is now moving together. And now we will take another new thing. We are going to work with the color violet. And we work through the triangle of United States, New York as throat center, Los Angeles as heart center, and Washington as head center. We have now experimental work of protection for the whole country. And we align with the soul sign of United States, Aquarius. And the 7th ray, which is related to new coming age. And we build this very carefully. From white magic. Occult attacks and occult powers warring militantly against the aspirant will occur. They may make their power felt in one or other of the vehicles, and in rare cases where the aspirant is important enough, on all at once. Sometimes they will be attacked directed against the individual worker, sometimes against group of workers. And we will take the aspect of the country. So now we have quieted our astral body. And our minds are steady. Now we are visualizing ourselves, the group, the personality of the group, and our unified soul. And now Master R, forming a triangle. And see Master R in the apex of the triangle. And we call down a stream of pure white light. And see how it is pouring through the lower vehicles of the group. And it is cleansing away all that hinders. And see how it is pouring, the white light is pouring through the triangle of United States. Continue in your mind. Seeing how it is cleansing everything away, what hinders, the plan to be established, and soul qualities to descend. And we visualize how now everything is white. Now we continue. We link ourselves up with the Lords of Masters, with the Great White Brotherhood for which we are working. We visualize the Masters. And we recognize how we are raising our vibrations higher still. And we imagine, we try to connect up, if possible, with the Johans and with the Manu. Now, according to the line of politics with which we are now working, and along which the attack may come. And now we pour through this linking chain and through all the vehicles a stream of violet light and beautiful violet. Pouring down through the group, through the triangle of United States, coloring everything violet. Every single state. Now we call the protective forces of light, the saving force of Archangel Michael. And we are asking war of protective energies to be performed. To keep all illegal actions in leash under the will of God. And now we will move into more particular work. And we imagine the covenantal triangle, which is formed by White House, Executive Branch of Government, Capitol, Legislative Branch of Government, Supreme Court, Judicial Branch of Government. We see the Christ in the center of this, above and center of this triangle. And Archangel Michael guarding. And all these three centers, we imagine that they belong under the government of the Christ. And through his heart is now pouring the ray of the United States, the second ray of indigo, pouring through us. We envision that we are standing as a sacred circle around this covenantal triangle. The indigo pouring into the triangle and through the group to all stages of United States, we emphasizing the demand of the soul of United States to come into action, into power on physical plane. We hold 1 minute silence for fusion and union of the group and for opening the funnel of invocation into the higher realm, into the ears of those who know the truth. 1 minute silence. There are no limitations when true esoteric work is undertaken. Master DK, to this end, I seek to emphasize renewed application to meditation and a constant steady use of the invocation, particularly the one which begins by invoking the Lords of Liberation. Great invocation number 2. Let the Lords of Liberation issue forth. Let them bring succor to the sons of men. Let the rider from the secret place come forth, and coming save. Come forth, Almighty One. Let the souls of men awaken to the light, and may they stand with massed intent. Let the fiat of the Lord go forth. The end of woe has come. Come forth, Almighty One. The hour of service of the saving force has now arrived. Let it be spread abroad, Almighty One. Let light and love and power and death fulfill the purpose of the coming one. The will to save is here. The love to carry forth the work is widely spread abroad. The active aid of all who know the truth is also here. Come forth, Almighty One, and blend these three. Construct a great defending wall. The rule of evil now must end. Let us now create and working for the inner protection. We create a wheel of fire with 7 spokes. Visualize the Lord of Love standing in the center of the triangle. You and the inner work group standing in the center at the hub of the wheel, which radiates with the living or consuming substance of love from the sacred heart of the Christ. Visualize that you and the group, as if we were that hub. From that central position, send out 7 streams of living fire, radiating upon the triangle, governmental triangle. Governmental triangle being protected by this living wheel of fire with its 7 streams of love in all rainbow colors. The wheel spinning, the protective energies being spread into all the states. And the group standing at the hub of the wheel, demanding the good law to be followed and established in every state. And the clarion is heard. We will stand for the good law, establishing the soul values and the law in United States. We bring illumination through the evocation of the will. We will bring imagination through the evocation of love. We bring inspiration through the evocation of the intelligence.
Let our lives be timeless gratitude and mighty joy. Let our heart be great peace and Holy Spirit. Let our name be Amen.
Let our lives be timeless gratitude and mighty joy.
We can release our mudra.
Let our hearts be great peace.
But in our imagination,
And
we keep on going, standing for working with these protective energies, and stand together.
Amen. Amen.
And for the end we say,
Amen. Amen.
may thy will be done, not ours.
Om of existence, keep this life inside you. Hide me the source of true love. Let our name be Amen, 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 Amen,
O one and only, you are our sole refuge, light of our hearts, the source of true love. Amen.